So you can start now.
Thank you. Good morning, my able colleagues. I'm Abubakar Mubarak by name. I think this is my second presentation in respect of the knowledge development. My topic is tools for effective customers engagement. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you?
Thank you. So when we talk of tools for customers engagement, we are talking of something beyond just selling your product or just like let's say um, interacting with them alone. When we talk of customer engagement, we talk of something like bringing them into the system totally, making them to feel comfortable, making them to feel involved, making them to feel they are part of the movement, they are part of the family. In today's world we are now, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of competitions that is happening in today's industries, companies in a whole. Therefore, each and every one of us, each organization, each company will have to strive. You have to strike well. Like each company will
Uh,
have to do.
but kindly on your video.
I should on my,
Video.
my location is still closed. So okay, but let me on the video.
All right. Can move towards the light.
So, huh?
Don't back the light. Let the light face you in terms.
I'm not having like.
Yeah, that's cool. So you can see your face now.
Okay. So as I was saying, so based on the like rigorous competitions we are having, so each organization will have to like try all its possible best to maintain and retain its customers. In the world we are living today, whatever you do, whatever you are doing, there are other people who do the same thing as you do, which like enhances the chances of competition. So effective customers tools for effective customer engagement. This will like help. Like these are things that you use like to keep your customers accompanied, to maintain them, to maintain the relationship between you and them, like bring them to work along, like to it will give you access to knowing them very well, and it will help you to like it will help you to like let's say um know them better, and as a result of that you will as a result of that you will like know what is the best thing to do in order to retain them. These are the contents of my presentation. One, some like little definitions. Then I will now talk on the tools. Although the tools are, there are a lot of tools for effective customers engagement, but I like pick like few due to time constraint. Then questions and appreciation for like listening. First of all, when we talk of customers engagement, as I said earlier, it's about improving customer communication, how you tend to communicate with them. Apart from giving them the best product, although the service you render, the quality of the product is also part of the communication you give to them, but it improves the communication and interaction, how you interact with them, how you talk to them. Maybe your customers are not like they are like that much that you cannot just like meet to them one on one and be talking to them like individually. So the method of interaction and communication is improved with the use of through customers engagement, making them more personalized in such a way that each customer will feel like, yes, I'm a like contributor. I'm like, let's say, someone that is special. So with that feelings, it will make him to like be very appreciative. You will be very happy while engaging himself in all your activities or patronizing your product. The patron more personalized, dynamic, and contextually relevant. So effective customer engagement is not about overwhelming customers with generic offers and promotions. Like it's not just about like discounts or any other means of like marketing activity. Just as I said earlier, it's about how you tend to improve your communication interaction, building a long-term relationship with them. It's not just about like the customer, it's not just about staying with them between a like stipulated time, like 2 to 3 years. Each customer you have, each client you have, you wish to stay with him forever and ever. You stay with him till the end. It's not something that you said you like start and customer will leave. So it's all about building a long-term relationship with them by gaining their trust. Customers will trust you when they have proper communication and interaction with you. A situation whereby they find it difficult communicating with you, they find it difficult interacting with you, they cannot just like trust you. So I say when you have a very proper and improved method of communicating with them and interaction, the relationship you will have a like long-term relationship with them and there will be trust and loyalty. True engagement can only take place when there is a give and take between your company and the customers. That is that for effective customer engagement. So customer engagement tools, when we say customer engagement tools, we mean customers engagement tools are tools that help business to engage, acquire, support, and retain their customer through their life cycle. Tools, these are things you use like to engage, talk to them, communicate with them. They lay complaints to you through these tools, which make it very, very important, like to know which tools is the best to use to communicate with them. As I said earlier, these tools, there are a lot of tools that are used in customers for effective customer engagement, but I just speak a little due to time constraint because I only have 20 minutes. So some of the tools are one, we have this Turn Zero software. It is used, it's a part of the tools that is used for customer engagement, where it's more of a niche product designed for software companies that want to better understand how customers use their product. It is used to know how customers use their product. This is how we do this, this is how we do that. For example, there might be a description of this is how the product should be used. Maybe a customer did not understand it well, or maybe is having issue in respect of that product. So this software can be used like it will be used in such a way that customers can use it to like give you report, give you details of how this is going on. This is how I use it, and this is what I encounter. As a result of that, you can know this is what happened, and you like talk to him and explain things to them better. This is a tool. This is another tool, and this is another tool also delighted. It's also a survey. It's a survey and customer feedback software solution with multi-channel deployment options, including email, website, and SMS. This is also a tool that can be used as a survey. You know what we mean by survey? It's also just like the other two. This one is also another tool that like has multi-channel of options, including email and SMS. This is also a tool that can be used like to engage customers. Then there is this Feedia also. This is also a tool which it brings a built-in reward management aspect to the traditional customer feedback landscape, providing a unified experience for customers completing surveys. Incentive tools include sending vouchers, coupons, exclusive content, customer messages, victory rewards, and exclusive event invitation. All this is also a tool for customers for effective customer engagement. We have this survey sparrow. All these are applications. You can download them and like check. You can download them and let's say go through them and know more about them. Now I can just like give you the name and the brief description of how it is. You can download these apps. You can like let's say go through them. In fact, you can install them and use them to do a certain something so that you can have more knowledge on it. This is also another tool. We have this live chat also. It's also for real-time conversation engagement. In most times, like when you are applying for something, or so majority of organizations use this, for example, to like they use it to communicate with customers or clients in such a way that you will be like chatting with it. The questions are set in there. When you ask questions, you have your feedback at that instant. In some cases, I like find myself in this kind of scenario. I have, like, for example, in some applications I have done, sometimes they use this live chat. They ask you questions, you reply back, you get your reply in that instant. So this is a means of like enhancing communication and interaction with your customers also. We have another application which is Survey Monkey. This is also used as a survey. It's used for survey where you can get information about your customer's preference and other things. This is also another tool that is used, one of the modern tools that is used for effective customer engagement. Well, I think that is few I have like picked out of it. So I don't know if there is any question in respect of that.
Hello, Mubarak. This is Michael. I have a question.
Okay, Michael, I'm listening.
Okay, good morning. I want to know, these tools are most of them free or are they paid tools? Like, do you have to pay to use them, or is it that
some of the I have yes, some of them are free. It depends on the software. Like these are things that you can find them in the Google Play Store. Majority of them are free. Like the ones I have shown now, I think all of them are free. Something you just install and register, make use of them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, please?
I have a question.
Okay, I am listening, sir.
The tools you mentioned, this Jacob.
Which tool?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you say which tool?
Okay, I said the tools you mentioned, just as you are talking about
Yes.
customer engagement.
Okay.
This is to know that these tools can they go with social medias channels and groups and all that, since
yes,
all of them or some of them, and which of them?
like just as I told you, as I said earlier, these are customers engagement tools. They are all about how you interact with your customers, right? So these social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, they are all means in which you can interact with your customers. Hope you understand what I'm saying. But there are some cases like Facebook, the WhatsApp and rest. Sometimes they tend not to be like, I can't say not effective, but sometimes it's like somehow problematic in such a way that some of the customers, maybe they are not using Facebook, for example. Hope you understand what I'm saying. So you might find it like, let's say, if you decide to depend on like Facebook, WhatsApp, like social media to interact with your customers, you might end up not having like proper percentage of like you might end up not having, let's say, how will I even put it? You might end up not having like the proper information you need. But those other tools that I've mentioned, maybe this is something that maybe they can even like personally install this app, or they can like personally like they have the feelings that this is something that is like meant for this issue, because Facebook they can and other these other social media they can be used for other purposes like um personal gist or something like that. But these are things that is like created for customers engagement. Hope you understand what I'm saying. It's just that for the fact that these other social medias they can be used for other things rather than just like official organizational stuff. That's what I'm just trying to say. Hello, Michael. Do you get what I'm saying? What I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Jacob was going to ask the question, but I'm clear on the one that I asked.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mubarak.
Yes, sir.
Apart from the social media, since you said that some of the customers maybe may not be on social media and all that, with this one too, how do they work also? Can one integrate blog to it? Since we can sell some things, we can engage customers or give welcome customers through blogs and sell out to them or whatever. Can they do they have something? If they have, which of them particularly? You can integrate with the blog to be able to track customers' engagement and be able to engage your customers better.
Like among the tools I have mentioned, or you are talking of other tools that I haven't mentioned?
No, just based on the ones you have mentioned already. That's what I.
Okay. Yeah. So you said what?
If there is there anyone that you can still integrate with a blog to still track and help to improve customer engagement?
Okay, like you can use a blog to do that.
No, I'm asking whether those who don't know whether you can integrate it to a blog to be able to know get some maybe data or whatever that we use to improve customer engagement.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the question right, but if there is any body that gets the question right and understand what you mean, I should appreciate it much if you can assist me with that, because I didn't get the question right.
Okay, let me try to be a bit clearer. I mean, you mentioned some of the softwares already.
Yes.
And it's for customer engagement.
Yes.
Keeping that is customer engagement, it means one, you get the customer.
Yes, communicate with them.
You communicate with them, interact with them, and the whole purpose is to establish a relationship.
Yes,
that they have to stick around your brand.
With trust, loyalty, yeah.
Now, some of the brands now and some of the things that maybe want to sell, want to market, we may get it out from possibly a site or a blog. And that's okay. These ones that you have mentioned and all that, in the course of your research, whether is there anyone that can work with a blog and that yes, so that we'll be able to get maybe one or two information from the blog or site, from the blog particularly. So that we'll be able to get how to sustain the customer and keep them and all that. So I mean,
I
integrating
think
it,
in my level of
integrating the application or your blog to it, so that you'll be able to get informations that will help you engage the customers.
customers. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
Thank you, Barak, for the time management. Everyone participated. Thank you. Leonard, I think we're going to be ready now. The second presenter already.
Thank you.
Leonard, you can come up now. Leonard, you came a bit late.
Yes.
All right, just go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so good morning, guys. I'm Leonard, and my presentation today is going to be about system analysis and design. So let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yeah. You can see your
Okay.
screen now.
See,
Yes, you can see.
we can.
So system analysis and design are two paradigms in system architecture. The system I'm talking about is basically a software system. So we're talking about, when you are talking about the structure of a system, when you are building a software system for a company, you are building an application, system analysis and design are two parameters that are very, very important in the structure of that system. So what is system analysis? It is a process of collecting and interpreting facts, identifying the problems, and the composition of a system into its components. It is conducted for the purpose of studying a system or its parts in order to identify the objectives of that system. It is basically a problem-solving technique that improves the system and ensures that all the components of the system are working efficiently and as they are intended to. So the system analysis is basically a process whereby you analyze, you study each and every component of the system, and you ensure that every component is working according to the recommended standard. So the system design, on the other hand, is basically the process of developing the system. You know, it is the process of planning a new business system or replacing an existing system by defining each component or module to satisfy the specific requirements. So before planning, you need to understand that the system that you are replacing, you need to understand that system, and you need to be able to determine how the computers can be used well to operate efficiently in the new system. So system design is basically broken down. System analysis and design is basically broken down into the systems, the processes, and the technology that you use. So let me also talk about system development life cycle. I mean, system development life cycle, SDLC. It shouldn't be conflicted with software development life cycle. That's a different category. So system development life cycle, it basically results in high quality systems that meet customer expectations. They reach the completion within time and cost evaluations, and they work efficiently. So system development lifecycle entails the requirements, the design, implementation, testing, deployment, operations, and maintenance of your software system. So the phases of the SDLC are planning, analysis, design, implementation, and maintenance. Planning is when you set out the goal for how your system is going to be. Analysis is when you work with the people in your business of the kind of system that they want, the kind of needs that they have for their system. Design is basically when you lay out how the system is going to be. Implementation is when you basically implement, you bring to life that design, the design that you made, you bring it to life in the new system. And maintenance is when you have engineers working on the system, updating the system constantly so that it can always be working at optimum conditions. So the life cycle of the system analysis and design, basically requirements, determination and specification. After that, you have the feasibility analysis. After that, you have system specification analysis, system design, the system implementation, and the system evaluation and maintenance. So the person that is in charge of system analysis is a system analyst. So it's basically someone that is aware of the system and he guides the system development project by giving proper direction. This person has to be an expert, having technical and interpersonal skills to carry out development tasks required at each phase. That basically means that the person needs to have the software skills. He needs to be a software engineer that understands the software system, but he should also have teamwork skills. You should be able to work, teamwork, communication skills, be able to work with people in the team, both people that are in the software team and the people that are like in the operations team or in the managerial team, so that it can be developing the system to always meet up with the tasks that it is required to accomplish. So some roles of the system analyst are prioritizing the requirements by obtaining the user's consensus, gathering the facts or information and acquiring the opinion of users, maintaining analysis and evaluation to arrive at appropriate system which is more user-friendly. So attributes of a system analyst, this person must have interpersonal skills, technical skills, I've talked about that. Also analytical skills and management skills. Basically management skills are the skills of somebody that understands how to manage an entire group or an entire team of employees so that they can accomplish a particular task without disorderliness and and lack of commitment from each member of the team. So just to break them down, interpersonal skills, these are basically interfacing with both the users of the system software and the programmers, facilitating groups and leading small teams and managing expectations, good understanding, communication, selling and teaching abilities. Analytical skills, this entails system study and organizational knowledge, sound common sense, decision making, ability to access trade-offs, and the curiosity to learn about new organizations. And management skills, you need to understand jargons and practices in the business world. You need to have good resource and project management. You need to have good change and risk management, and you need to understand the management function story. Technical skills, knowledge of computers and softwares. You have to have a very good knowledge of modern developments, knowledge of system design tools, breadth knowledge about new technologies. So I also want to talk about joint application development. This is basically a technique that was developed by IBM. IBM, Industrial Business Machines, everybody knows the company, which brings owners, users, analysts, designers, and builders to define and design the system using organized and intensive workshops. So it trained JAD analysts to work as a facilitator for a workshop for people with some specialized skills. Advantages of JAD are it saves time and cost by replacing months of traditional interviews and follow-up meetings. It is useful in organizational culture, which supports joint problem solving. It can lead to development of design in a very, very creative manner. It allows rapid development and improves ownership of information systems. Another topic I want to talk about is basically secondary research, which is very useful for information gathering. Like it's because it helps you to openly access, and it helps with the open access to availability of the internet. It provides valuable information with very low cost and time. So moving on, I want to talk about the components of the system development life cycle. So after we've talked about the requirements, I want to talk about feasibility analysis. Feasibility analysis or feasibility study is basically the preliminary investigation that helps the management to take decision about whether study of system should be feasible or development or not. Feasibility analysis basically, let's say you want to start a fish business now. You want to be selling fish. So you now go to the market and you ask yourself, which part of the market do they want fish the most? Who are the people that buy fish the most? What is the price that people mostly buy a certain type of fish? Where is the best what is the best route to bring in your fish to your, all those things, just to study the market. So feasibility analysis is also done in the world of software. It helps to identify the possibility of improving an existing system, developing a new system, and produce refined estimates for further development of the system. You know, the main objective of feasibility analysis is to acquire problem scope instead of solving a problem, to acquire the scope of the problem, to understand the magnitude of the problem, not really solving the problem itself. That's a different stage. So the output of a feasibility analysis is a formal system. The formal system proposal acts as decision document, which includes the complete nature and scope of the proposed system. Now, I would also like to talk about the steps in feasibility analysis. You need to form a project and appoint a project leader, develop system flowcharts, identify the deficiencies of the current system, so that those deficiencies will not end up reflecting again in the next system that you end up building. You know, you need to rank the other alternatives and select the best candidate system. A candidate system is basically, let's say you have different systems that you want to build for your business, for your company, and you want to choose between them. As, okay, this is the new system I'll build. What's the best possible one? You rank them and you choose the best one that will deliver optimum conditions for your business. So there are different types of feasibility analysis, such as economic feasibility and technical feasibility. Economic feasibility basically demonstrates the net benefits from the candidate system in terms of benefits and cost to the organization. The main aim of economic feasibility is to estimate the economic requirements of candidate systems before investment funds are committed to the proposal. Basically, you're just basically looking at the cost of implementing that new system. Like what I was talking about, like the cost, like if you are doing the fish business, cost of bringing in the goods and everything, cost of paying for the space you're using in the market, all those things. So basically in the software world, you're looking at the cost of how implementing this software is going to cost you in comparison to the profit you make from the software. Technical feasibility, this has to do with, are your software developers up to the task? Is your team up to the task? You know, it's going to analyze and determine whether the solution can be supported by the technology that you have. Is the technology that you are using, the software you are using to build that application, is it even good enough? So it ensures that the candidate system provides appropriate responses to what extent it can support the technical enhancement. Another type of feasibility is operational feasibility. You know, this one determines whether the system is operating effectively once it is developed and implemented. Another one again is behavioral feasibility. This helps to determine if the system requires special effort to educate, retrain, transfer, and change in employees' job status or new ways of conducting the business. We also have schedule feasibility, which ensures that projects are completed within the time so that you deliver them for the company or for your users, for your customers by the time required. Also, I just want to quickly gloss over structured analysis. Structured analysis is a development method that allows the analyst to understand the system and its activities in a logical way. You know, attributes of structured analysis, it is graphic, which specifies the presentation of the application. It divides processes so that it can give a clear picture of system flow. Tools of structural analysis are data flow diagrams, decision trees, decision tables, data dictionary, pseudocode. You can see them here. The information gathering process, you can use pseudocode. Pseudocode is just the form of code that is written in traditional English. You know, you can use decision trees, flow diagrams, everything to build your data. Now I want to talk about the second part, which is system design. So system design is basically the phase that bridges the gap between the problem domain and the existing domain in a magical way. It is the phrase where the SRS document is converted into a format that can be implemented and decide how the system operates. In system analysis, we kind of study all the factors that will be needed to build the system. The system design is now when we take what we've learned from our analysis and try to pan them out. We are not yet implement. This is not the implementation stage. Implementation is when we bring those things to real life. But system design is when we pan out how the stuff is going to look in real life, basically. So inputs to the system design are statement of work, requirements, determination plan, current situation analysis, and the outputs are infrastructure and organizational changes for the proposed system, schema, metadata to define the tables or files and customers or data items. And also a prototype for the proposed system. So types of system design, we have logical design, physical design. Logical design is basically the representation of data flow, inputs and outputs of the system. It describes the inputs, the outputs, databases, procedures, all in a format that meets the user's requirements. While physical design is the actual input and output processes of the system. It focuses on how data is entered into the system, verified, processed, and displays as output. It provides a working system by defining the design specifications that specifies exactly what the candidate system does. So the logical stuff is just basically the straightforward mathematical, algorithmical stuff. But the physical design is the way that stuff is going to actually pan out in real life. I also want to talk about architectural design. This is the high-level design that focuses on the design of the system architecture, this one just basically having to do with the structure of the system, the structure, the behavior of the system, the detailed design. We also have conceptual data modeling, which is a representation of organizational data, which includes all the major entities and relationships. The main aim of conceptual data modeling is to capture as many meaning of data as possible. Now I want to talk about system design strategies. There are two major strategies, which are top-down and bottom-up. The top-down strategy, it uses a modular approach to develop the design of the system because it starts from the top, the highest level module, the most important task. Then it breaks them down. The main module is divided into several similar and simpler submodules. Then each small submodule is further divided into other submodules. So the other version is the bottom-up strategy, which is very easy to understand. It's just the opposite of the top-down strategy. Bottom-up strategy follows a modular approach to develop the design of the system. What it does is that it starts from the smallest submodule of your design, then it builds everything to the main module. These modules, it starts from the basic or lowest, then they are grouped together, and they are further combined in order to meet the main module, the main task, the main challenge, the main goal of your system software. We also have structured design, which is just basically a data flow-based methodology that helps in identifying the input and output of developing system. I also want to really talk about the system testing. When you finish your analysis and your design, testing is when you just check the functionality and the correctness of the software. I talked about system testing in the last KD that I did. So since you have different types of system testing, unit testing and code. So the rules for system testing, it must be done as soon as possible. It must be performed on static software, and it should be based on the requirements of the user, the consumer that is going to use your product. Quality assurance is also another important procedure we just need to gloss over. Quality assurance is basically making sure that the product is top-notch, is up to the requirements of the user. It is the review of system or software products and the documentation for assurance that the system meets the requirements and specifications. Objective of quality assurance: to monitor the software development process and the final software developed, to ensure whether the software project is implementing the standards and procedures set by the management. There are different levels of quality assurance, such as the code walkthrough. When you go through the code, compilation and linking, the compiling the software, routine running, and performance tests to make sure that the software is working at optimum conditions. So system implementation. When you are done with system analysis and design, the implementation is basically now you finish designing the system, you just implement the system. That's not really a main part of the topic, but I just want to use it to kind of like conclude the topic. So after you finished implementing the system, you maintain the system. That's basically updating the system. Like when you run an application and it come with a new version for you, so that it can always be up to the requirements of users. Auditing is basically also when, after you've built your system, You're just investigating to review the performance of that system. So that's all I have to say about system analysis and design. Thank you. So any questions? Anybody wants to ask anything? Hello?
Hello, Leonard, this is Michael.
Yes.
So between the top-down and the bottom-up strategies, which one is best? Which one is the best approach?
It depends.
Don't you think?
It depends on the kind of system you are building. You know, if you are building a system for, let's say you are building a software that is going to be used by, you know, something that is scalable, something that you are going to use that a large group of people will be using, it's better to use the bottom-up strategy. So that as you are building it small by small, you are testing the application, you are releasing the beta versions of the application, people will be making complaints that, oh, this, I need it to be able to do this. I need to be able to do that. So you continue adding to it. The top-down strategy is mostly used for something that is fixed. You have a fixed group of users, you have a fixed requirement. So you can just start from the top, from the basic, what you want. And from there, you can just build everything else.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Nona. Thank you.
Yeah, Leonard, I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, can you please explain the differences between the software development lifecycle and the system development lifecycle?
Good. The software development lifecycle, you're basically just referring to software, any form of software. Like software development lifecycle, but the system development lifecycle, you're talking about a software system. A software system is not just about the software itself. You're also talking about the business. Like let's say you're in a company, you're talking about the users of the software. You're talking about the consumers of the software. You're talking about the managers, like the business entities behind that software. So everything is kind of incorporated into the system development lifecycle. But the software development lifecycle is just focused on building your software and making it ready for use.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yes.
So everyone, thank you for attending this morning session. Thank you. It's almost time for time for us to take a snap of this. Let's happen. All right. So let's have a great day.